Hey everybody, and welcome back. It's now the WCW Roster Reveal time, and this one's a little bit of a doozy because this is not 20 people. This is 50 people. Well, technically it's 49 because one guy has still not arrived from the UK yet. It's that Buff Bagwell, which if you follow the wrestling community figures and you follow 3XR, you've seen the picture. It was on the cover. That I didn't create him, but he was created for me. I commissioned to have him created, and he did such a great job. I can't wait for that figure to show up. So, just pulling people out right now. Let's just get started and start it off quick with, well, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, this is not custom, but it is custom. It's Brock Lesnar without drop down hips. I replaced it and decided I didn't care for drop down hips because mine kept dropping down all the time. So, just pretty easy, simple fix right there. You can only just get the standard one. Not a big issue there. I'm going to go through this a little quicker because, again, there's 50 of them. So, Nasty Boys, and you can see the butterfly joints right there. So, they are ultimate. Um, Lower halves, shirts from the Elites, Stone Cold. And then, of course, he's the only single jointed because they have their tattoos. And before I knew decals is how I did it. I'll probably update that and put the decals if I find them. I think they're out there. I didn't make this one, but Magnum TA Ultimate. I think it works really well for him. It's kind of like the Razor Ramon build a little bit because it's got the torso of it. Cedric Alexander Ultimate, of course. Uh, there's only a few. You've got the Zeus, which is a little bit bulkier and bigger, which I'll be using for a Bad News Brown. And then you got Mr. T, and that's pretty much the only ones. Works great for Booker, Shad, JTG, all these people. This one, of course, painful still to this day because it would be officially released around this time, if not, well, probably August, I would think. But it didn't fund, so you don't get DDP Ultimate unless you make your own. Now, this is the process that someone did. They actually took the arms from the Elite and they sanded down. They cut it to a certain way. I've seen some people doing that lately, so props to them on that one. Not sure which torso it was they used on this one. I didn't build this one. I do think about putting the star peck over here, the star tat peck on there as well. Maybe re-hitting this one with more of a WCW look, but I do like I always liked the later, switched out the hands a little bit. I need to put the little black things on there to make them look more like the actual um, gloves. So this one, I plan to get the decals, seeing if they can be done in black so I can put them on there. But here's a very basic Tony Nese. Worked well for it at the time. It was pretty simplistic. I had the parts lying around. This one I did really good with. I did not apply decals to it because I didn't know decals exist at the time. So I actually only just did my own little writing. I used a little and you're gonna think it's dumb for this, but I used a permanent marker, a very fine tip permanent marker, to put those Chinese symbols best I could. I'm thinking about hitting this again and getting the decals to put on the back and cover over the tattoo and whatnot. I was pretty proud with this one. I used Sami Zayn legs, so he's definitely a little taller, but I think Tarver was actually kind of tall and lanky, if I remember correctly. But I definitely want to hit that and get that, smoothed out a little bit. They're not 100% accurate. I think I may have put one too many Chinese writing kind of things. I tried to do the best I could with it, and then I sealed over it. So it's not bad for a figure that never even got an Elite. This one here, besides the chest hair, which I'm not too worried about. Luther Reigns. I still have my Elite version of him up on Macari. Decided, you know what, why not it's pretty bare bones, just throw a head on there, and the Goldberg worked perfectly for it. So Luther Reigns Ultimate right there. Luther was back in 2005. I haven't done anything with Kurt yet. I do plan to possibly switch out since he does have the older style connector joint, switch it out. Keep the singlet on, but just that way I don't have to worry about the drop down hips. Nothing really fancy on that. I'm hoping they give a ECW one in the future. These ones took some time to build, and I'm trying to pull all of them out, but I'll only pull out one right now because the other two are. I've got basically 30 people in the WCW roster, And then they're part of WCW as well, but they're the Thunder brand. They're the Thunder subdivision, where only the top 30 get to be in the WCW show, and the other 20 have to go to Thunder. And the champions have stayed. The TV champion and the hardcore champion have to stay in Thunder no matter what. So it's kind of like you work your way up through the ranks. So that way it's a little bit, it'll be interesting to see the journey. But here's Mikey of Spirit Squad. And I left him in a t-shirt. I did, from the UK, I got threads that looked perfect. They actually built these exactly for me. They built 3 sets for me because I wanted to build 3 in the Spirit Squad. And then the decals haven't arrived yet, but I did originally have this in cloth, and then I realized, why not just get the decals and make Kenny proper? And I'm going to keep the head because it's a little smaller. The one with the yelling scanned way too bulky and looks way too big-headed. But I think the Sean, I think it works perfectly. It's clean for him. It'll work great. Obviously, he didn't have tattoos back then. This one here, great cloth I got from a guy in Mexico who builds cloths. I put together using a Kurt Angle torso and rhino legs because I wanted to build myself an ultimate rhino. And I've been told this is pretty good. I kept the same tattoos. I could have obviously went to smaller arms. The shoulders really worked really well. The arms he still had pretty fat arms, like shorter arms nonetheless. It works really well, I think, for a rhino. Definitely more of his 2000s look, I think, more than his later in life bulkier look. But I think it works great. The singlets, like I said, they fit around the legs. The fact that you put this together has got me having to make a Ludwig Vorga singlet in the future. Here's one half. The other half you'll see later on. But here is Nash Carter of MSK. I've added. He already had these tattoos already here. I just had to add that tattoo down there, and then I had to add the little arm tat here as well. So very simple fix up. The Legacy lives on. I put that over myself because he didn't have that on Stone Cold torso. Ric Flair torso came in handy for a Kushida, so I made a Kushida Ultimate. Looks really well, really well done. Pretty simplistic. There's Ric Flair, lower legs, Kushida. Kushida, of course, was with WWE, no longer there anymore. Back doing whatever in Japan, I think it is. Got The Rock in WCW. All I did was switch out the head with that more newer Elite head that came out. Now, this one came originally, I didn't build this one. It came with the Jax test head. I did order the Mark Cochin test head. It was painted, and it worked pretty well. I think I might have miscalculated. I thought that it was Ultimate Warrior skin tone. It's more of a Triple H skin tone, so it definitely has a little bit. But if you look at it, it's supposed to be 2006, 2007 test. And he kind of had a little bit of a horse face at that time. This one, however, was made by Mike Ruff, and then I converted it myself using a Ultimate Warrior, and the legs worked perfectly. It matched really well. So, Mark Jindrak. I could have got decals. I did get the decal to put the tattoo on there because originally it was painted on the Elite arm. I need to still get rid of that tattoo over there. I forgot to remove that. I've always keep forgetting to move that one. But Mark Jindrak looks good. This is my first attempt at kind of painting. And I'm probably going to, now that I've seen the decals, I'm going to probably hit it again and put the decals on the sides and try to make Hideo Itami a little bit better, more to the fact that I have the Elite canceled Hideo Itami Elite. No jacket, but it's still complete. How much I paid for it? Way too much, but I do have it. It is for sale because I'm just kind of building an ultimate sets only. But it's kind of cool to have something that hardly anybody has. It was never released. I was surprised I found it. Good person, a friend of, not my channel, but just in general from a different country, knew how to get a hold of it. They got it to me, and I still need to send them off more Gargoyle figures because they asked me to send them off because he can't get them in his country. And I've been doing that, but some of them come back, and so I'm like, okay, we need to make sure this gets, because it gets costly. Next one. Originally I was going to try to make this into Ezekiel Jackson, and then I got cold feet on it. I finally figured out a formula for Ezekiel Jackson, but this I worked for was Tony Atlas. and I had to have the head repainted to match the skin tone of the body, which I think he was pretty dark, if I remember correctly. At times he can be. It's, this is more of his like early 70s look, so he's a lot more ripped and fit. And the reason I did that is because I built his tag team partner, his tag team champion partner, Rocky Johnson. And this Rocky, of course, was from the Elite, the earlier style. The newer one has a lighter skin tone. So, because they don't have a lighter skin tone Ultimate body, I had to go with the other option here. Because I'm trying to think, like, I guess Farouk maybe, or The Rock, but at the same time, it just didn't look right. Add the decals myself. There's the chest hair. There's the bird tats inside there as well. So not bad there. Ryback. People probably say he's probably not super big. Looking back, I probably, if I waited, I could have probably used the Jim Neidhart torso, because he's not really wide either. So I kind of went with his like later in life. I could always get a singlet and put it on there as well. It's kind of like his later, right before he left company, he started looking like wannabe Goldberg with the biker shorts. It's almost like he was looking like Renegade in a sense too. Like it was a weird little hodgepodge of that. So it worked for Ryback, I feel like. This one took a lot of work, and I've already talked about this one. So Big Boss Man Ultimate had to use a couple cheap methods to get stuff working. I had to use the Bray Wyatt shoulders, hook them into the arms, and then I had to like clip at the arms and actually glue the arms because it wasn't quite gluing in properly. But it's a great Boss Man figure. I'm still proud of that one. This one, some people have already seen. I used an Andre torso on this one, but Bam Bam Bigelow Ultimate, and it is Ultimate. It is not. You can see right there. This is the butterfly joint moving. So I used the Superstars Walmart exclusive Bam Bam shirt. Threw it over the top right here. You can see it sticks out a little bit. Underneath is the Andre torso, and just basically hooked the lower to it. It does bend a little bit, or it does twist a little bit. But I'm not too worried about. Bam Bam wasn't exactly a guy doing, those kind of moves. Rich Swann. Simple, kind of like Cedric Alexander. Just throw on a Mr. T torso. Throw the arms, so the legs, lower half, put the head, boom. You got yourself Rich Swann. This one for now is here until I purchase the next one, but here's Great Muta. I didn't build this Great Muta. This is one of the ones I got back when I just didn't have the courage or the ability to even start building these people. So Great Muta here. Pretty good likeness. I can't wait for that one to come out. I'll snag that one. This one, however, again, using the cloth from getting it made, especially from the guy from Mexico, PWA Lucha, Kenzo Suzuki. Phenomenal. Great job right there. And then I used the Jack's head and a Stone Cold torso. Switched the arms. I forget where the arms come from, though. This one here was an Elite. I just converted it to an Ultimate, and I kept the lower legs, obviously, because they were part of the Elite. I had the shirt built in Mexico, and then just add the hands in, and so he's got single jointed arms. It's Tommy Dreamer. And it's the Dreamer from Mattel head, so it's kind of like his late ECW run. Goldberg here. Spoilers. Goldberg here has got the. You can see he's got the WWE more or less. I didn't build this. I found this one. I thought about easily building one as well, but I think they actually painted this one, which, they just add some legs, and I think they did a lot of paint change to it. So I probably could go back and put the Goldberg torso onto a Elite torso of Goldberg if I really need to, but this holds up just fine for now. I'm not too worried about it. Then the Stone Cold, I had many Stone Colds. This one actually was built by somebody else. They added thicker thighs to him, and so it looks much, much better than that skinnier version. So that's the WCW main roster, but let's talk about the Thunder division real quick. Hang in there, I know the video's long. There's the other two Spirit Squad members, Johnny and Mitch of the Spirit Squad. I'll put these over here so I separate them so I don't mess it up. Shelton Benjamin, I'm probably going to end up getting his gold standard look lower and the blonde hair. and also get the tattoo so I can put that on there and make it more of a modern Shelton. This is just one I found. I didn't build this one either. This one I did put together the parts. The decals were added by somebody else for me, which, now I can do it myself if I needed to. But here's A-Train. Lesnar back hair. I feel like there could have been more back hair applied, but I'm not too worried about it. A-Train, of course, he became Tensai. This is the actually Tensai head that was carefully the tattoo on the face was removed because the Jack's head I just didn't like. I've seen people do some really good ones though, but I just didn't have the time or energy. This one started out as just going to be his rookie attire, and then I switched it up, and I found proper kick pads, and then I found the decals, and I found the tattoo, and I made the blueprint. Matt Morgan. There's the tats, all tatted up, all the new tats. Really liked his TNA look, much more than his rookie generic basic look. But I was a huge fan of his back in 2004. I thought he was gonna be huge. Obviously, this one is coming up very shortly, so it's just a temporary kind of placeholder for the other one. But there is my custom LA Knight. Originally, it was just red trunks. I got the decals and had them applied. It looks really good for what it is. Of course, they're making a much nicer looking Ultimate of him. If you have Mr. T torso, it works just fine. You can make yourself a boogeyman. The Ultimate Boogeyman. So, and he moves. It's kind of like he moves like how he does when he wrestled. This one took a little bit of creativity. It has to keep the vest on, otherwise it would definitely not work. I used the rubber vest from the Undertaker underneath to help pad it out. Check out Ultimate D'Lo Brown. And I used the Rock Target exclusive torso on this one. And the arms from the Rock and the D'Lo head match perfectly. This is a phenomenal one. My only one regret is I probably should have Mod Podged over this and not glued. Just because the glue gets a little sticky, so it gets a little bit dirty on the back. So I'll try to figure out something to do with that. You can get Pipers nowadays. The Monday Night Wars one, I might go to that one eventually if I see it in stores or if I see it for a decent price. This one I did switch it though. It does not have drop down hips. I switched it with a regular Piper because I don't like drop down hips. I'm looking into getting the official Tom Veg head and having it painted and whatnot. But I mean, to give Mike Ruff credit, I mean he did make me a Bull Buchanan. I did want Bull Buchanan to be perfectly synced up with the Big Boss Man. These are Roman Reigns legs, and then it was a Stone Cold torso, and I just put an Undertaker vest on there. Didn't have a head originally. I just sent the formula. He goes, "This is a really cool formula, really simple." And I just wanted a really simple Bull Buchanan. I have one coming with a singlet, but it's not done yet. Instead, I got tired of waiting because it was taking a long time, so I built one, and then I sent off the decals. I did add the decal myself on the tattoo, but I wanted his SummerSlam 2001 look. So I actually liked that look a lot. I remember this figure, except for this, there's silver I think on the bottom. You could get this, silver when you wrestled, but I don't think it was on the Jax figure. Came with the only time we ever got the light heavyweight title, and I've been asking Mattel for, feels like an eternity. Hey, can we get the light heavyweight championship? Can we get the light heavyweight championship? Can we get the light heavyweight championship? Obviously they keep running, they're running down more and more guys who use it, but it was a belt that was around. There were guys like, X-Pac easily. Next up is Rene Dupree. Originally this was an Elite, and I converted it into an Ultimate out of the torso there. He was pretty tall, which I think he was actually kind of tall, if I remember correctly. I think he did tower a little bit over Cena. I'll check and whatnot. If that's not the case, I can always shrink him down a little bit, but I mean, he does look phenomenal. Then I got Joey Mercury. I decided not to do the J&J Security head. I used the old Jax head because it works really well. So I've got Joey Mercury now. This one I'm debating if I should try to re-hit the decals with white or something like that. I think it's supposed to be white and then the silver is supposed to go over it, but I think you just add the silver, so it's kind of hard to see. But who better than Canyon? You can see right there, you can see it really well right there. And I guess with the light hitting it right, you can see the sides really well. The back one, not so much. So it is a unique one. Obviously, he wrestled with finger gloves. He had a unique look to himself. Head painted by Cujo. There's my WCW Canyon, part of the Jersey Triad, because I had Bam Bam and DDP in this one. Then I had Daniel Bryan. Could have went with his, savior of, or whatever it is, the vegan Bryan. Couldn't really find a good quality one of those. This one was not bad at all. It was real easy to fix. And the head sculpt, I like the short-haired look for Daniel Bryan. So, of course, you can get him in AEW right now. Brian Pillman, just kind of added. I originally had the Flying Brian Pillman. I messed up the torso. I ended up gluing the torso. I sold that off. And I retried with this one. And this one works really well, except for his late time in WCW, as well as going over to the WWF. So, all right, just a few more. Wes Lee, really good job on this one. I feel like there's his back tats, his arm tat, his throat tat, throat and chest tat. So really cool. I have MSK in ultimate form. And then I'm not gonna spend too much time on them, but Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch. There's their tattoo, or their symbol in the back, or their decal in the back. Lance Cade, real simple, just black tights. Throw on those decals on the sides. Get the red boots. Trevor, I had to have. It was George Steele originally, and I sent off the figure to be painted over by Cujo. Shout out to him, of course, because the acetone had really made this guy look warped. Threw the arms on from the Trevor, threw the head on from the Trevor from Jax, and the lower. Originally, if I remember correctly, the Cade Murdoch was already there on this one because it was originally just an elite version of it. And then I got one to match it, so that way Cade Murdoch are there. This is, of course, before he didn't have a short-haired singles run Cade anywhere, and I haven't seen anybody make one yet out there, Tom Veg or any of them. So until they do make one, got to go with what I can right now. I'm still hoping they, I told Rodney Max will be coming up in the future. And Chris Nowinski, S.A. Rios just popped up, so I'm excited for that. So I've already got the parts ready for that. So as soon as the head shows up, the decals are going to show up. I'll build the body, I'll send the head off to be painted, and I'll bring it back and put it together. And who knows, we'll end up in a year's time when new people get drafted in. That's the WCW roster. I'm going to now go over here and create the pay-per-view card for Night of Champions. I'm not going to say any winners or like that because I haven't built it yet. But hey, if you liked it, great. Check back for the WWF roster very soon and the other rosters as I go along.